Wall Street Unplugged looks beyond the regular headlines heard on mainstream financial media to bring you unscripted interviews and breaking commentary direct from Wall Street right to you on Main Street.
Let's go down there. It's March 6th. My friend Curzio, the Wall Street Unplugged. So I break the headlines and tell you what's really moving these markets. Great show for you today. Where I'll talk about the Bitcoin correction. It lasted for about 2 minutes. We say goodbye to Apple's biggest growth market. And also, I'm going to talk about ChatGPT. The greatest invention to come from AI thus far. But it may already be an outdated product. Definitely want to hear that segment. But I want to begin with Bitcoin. Surged to 69,200, all-time high. Everything looking great. Twitter crazies on fire. All came out of the woodworks. Arrogant, we're right. All these crazy memes and showing videos of people from 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago saying Bitcoin's going to zero. It's like everyone's like, I'm not that type of person. Like if I'm right, I'm right. It's kind of like a basketball game. Like, you know, when I played, you would talk shit. I hated my competitors. Like they just weren't my friends. I played like the Larry Bird, Magic Johnson age. When I played against them, I was pissed. Afterwards, it's like, okay, cool. Especially, you know, if we beat them, I would never, step on their neck and rub it in and stuff like that. I mean, you saw a lot of that. Meme coins like Pepe, Doge, the Trump token. If you're familiar with that. I mean, you should have seen the gains on these things. And Pepe was up 700% for the month. And was up only 13,400% the past year. If you notice, for the last 6 months, pound on the table of why you need to be in this sector. Because it offers you returns that you can't see in the stock market anymore. Because some of these growth companies come out at IPO valuations of billions and billions of dollars and 20, 30, 40 times sales. Maybe you catch a winner here or there. But most of the growth has already taken place. In crypto, you could see these gains. I'm not telling you to buy meme coins. I'm not telling you that. Just realize it's normal for the shittiest of the shittiest to go the highest when you see a sector or market in this screaming bullish trend. It's like on the way down, these things get hit the most. So everybody partying, but that partying lasted for about 6 seconds before you could actually post that Bitcoin had a new all-time high. It corrected. What does correction mean? Technically, if you read the textbooks, it's a 10% decline from the highs. 20% is defined as a crash. I think it fell 11, 12%. And this is right when it broke to new highs. So once it did, immediate sell-off was triggered, wiped out $250 billion in market cap, the crypto space. And now Bitcoin bounced right back. It's at 66, 67,000. But that pullback from 69.2, it fell below 60,000, 59 level, like that. Same day. Now, some interesting things I want to mention here. One, it's the first time that Bitcoin has achieved a new all-time high before the Bitcoin halving event. Usually happens after. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I thought it was interesting. Also, when do you see that? Even as a trader, when do you see, you always see, like, here's the highs and you want to see a breakthrough. And a lot of times it tests it. It tests the high, tests the high, it comes back down. When do you see something blast through that? Because now it makes sense, right? You have these sellers, and once you break through, they turn into buyers, right? So you usually when you see that break through that ceiling, it usually goes a lot higher. You rarely see a massive pullback of 11, 12% immediately once you break through the high. Not touching it. We see it touch a lot, and then come back down. Maybe second, third time it'll test it, it'll break through, whatever. That's normal patterns. That's how crazy this is. But there was massive sell programs as soon as it broke through. And why is that? So if you had to sell a shitload of Bitcoin, you had a massive amount to sell. When do you want to sell it? The best time to sell it is when something breaks through the high, because that's when all the traders come in. That's when the liquidity is at the most, and you could dump the shit out of this and get the best price because the liquidity is there. The liquidity event. Now, a couple of things right? Crypto tracked futures. So over 550 million in losses in that 24-hour period. Meme coins racked up the most. I just told you how high they went. 90 million in bets evaporated. Leverage bets on crypto, so this is crypto futures, increased to over 66 billion in a week. While funding rates on some tokens skyrocketed to over 100% annualized, meaning funding is amount traders pay when they borrow additional money to place bigger trades. So you just needed a mild sell-off for all these margin calls. So you have this massive liquidation flushing out tons. I mean, at the bottom, it's like $1 billion worth of leveraged derivatives. And this is across all assets. This is CoinGlass reporting this. Yeah, Binance showed huge sell orders. They were clustered at prices. So with 300 Bitcoin to be sold at 69,000, more than 500 at 70,000. I mean, just, you saw these come in a little bit, but that's to see that type of sell-off was insane. I don't know if it was, trying to find out, try to dig a little more to see, but that's a rare event. I mean, to see that much breaking through the highs and to see Bitcoin get nailed like that was a surprise. And then you had all the Peter Schiffs and all the haters of Bitcoin say, that's it, and JP Morgan, we told you it's pulling back, expecting a pullback. And what happened? That lasted for like 2 seconds. I don't care about short-term shit when it comes to crypto. I don't know where it's going to be. It's going to be wild. That's why I'm clear, bullish on this sector. So the crap out of my newsletter, Crypto Intelligence, the last 6 months, and good for you who followed it. I mean, even our last recommendations, 5 recommendations where we had a special event, 2 special free events, webinars. Recommended 5 on February 7th. The average gain on those is 50%. The average. Great timing. We've been talking about this for a while, but don't get caught up in stuff like this. This is the crypto market. It gets a little crazy. If you want to buy memes, buy beams. I'm not recommending in my newsletter. Those are things, those are lottery tickets to me, the research, you'll see the research. My issue comes out today. I recommended a new name that's originally backed by Anderson Horowitz, Pantera Capital, Bain Capital. Now it just raised more money last year. This is an AI cloud play. You want to see AI in the crypto space, holy cow. This is where it's pretty amazing. Really is. Open source. I mean, they have a platform that goes right on top of WordPress. They have 1,100 people using it, businesses, large businesses using this. No centralization. And it's faster. The APIs are faster. I mean, everyone's talking about how great this stuff is. They sell products. They also are in, DPIN, which is, selling physical assets. So they have GPUs that they rent out to other people at a much, much lower cost than what you're seeing every place else, even with cloud storage and stuff like that. And this is a great, great name that hasn't really participated as much. And what I love about this is the token economics are fantastic. This is the only name I know. And if you crypto crazies out there want to correct me on this, that's fine. Only name I know outside of Bitcoin that actually also has a halving event. And they do it every 2.5 years. And that halving event's coming up in 12 months. What do you think is going to happen? These are the names and the technologies you're seeing. And it's going to get bigger and bigger and more technologies. That's what these things are. Software companies are going to get funded. Why? Because it's a super bull market in crypto, and it's a secular bull market where when we see 18 months after every halving, we see Bitcoin surge, and then what happens is the market crashes, right? We have this crypto winters. You're not going to see that because you had those crypto winters because demand kind of wanes, right? Now you have Bitcoin ETFs, constant flow coming in, MicroStrategy buying more Bitcoin here and there, just raise more money. Was it yesterday? Which he's going to use to buy more Bitcoin. You're going to see as tax laws are changing this year of how you count Bitcoin on your books. It's not an intangible asset, which is a horrible way to account for it. That's why MicroStrategy reports losses every year. Now it's going to be the same as a tangible asset, an investment, which means that a lot of companies, I believe, are going to put a very small portion of Bitcoin on the balance sheets. Makes sense. Also, you have Ethereum ETFs coming. They might not get approved right away. The SEC is going to flex his muscle and try to pretend that they're doing the job, which, they suck at, as we saw throughout the whole crypto industry. 5 years to regulate this industry. They still haven't done it. Maybe, I have the schedules for all of them. There's like 6 of them, and the final ruling is around between May and August. Might take a couple more months. Like Bitcoin took a little while, but that's another major catalyst. Once that happens, it's going to open up the whole ETF market. Leverage ETFs, structured ETFs, actively managed Bitcoin ETFs or crypto ETFs. Constant news flow, constant. This demand. I mean, $30 trillion is now going to gain access to ETFs. The whole thing's not going to come in, and maybe 3% won't come in. 1%, 2% is a difference maker. And as this goes higher, don't you think more and more people are going to want exposure to it? As I said, 6 months ago, Bitcoin, great, right? Thinking about where the puck's going to go. Let's buy Bitcoin. Let's buy Ethereum. Let's do well with these things, right? Pitching a newsletter and crypto intelligence newsletter. And now at 68,000, everybody wants to buy Bitcoin. What I'm looking at is where the puck's going. And where the puck's going is the altcoins. These technologies, the structure of these companies, of these new altcoins, are a million times better than they were. You got all the garbage wiped out, all the bullshit. Everyone's just trying, again, you're still going to have that in all industries, but it's not going to be as big. Now you have these new technologies that are funding, they're getting funding. You're seeing the connectivity. There's protocols where, that's where the hacks take place with the bridges. There's different blockchains, hard to communicate with each other. Now you have names like Chainlink that are allowing, you don't need those bridges anymore, meaning that you're preventing hacks and it's seamless. And now they're working with the largest banks in the world through the SWIFT system. Really? Chainlink working with SWIFT system? Are you kidding me? I mean, just this whole entire market where now you're going to see ownership of your content on the internet and things that you create, which is the metaverse. But the metaverse is just this, terrible term. That's what NFTs are going to make a big comeback. All this stuff's going to get funded going forward. So buy Bitcoin, own Bitcoin. You're not going to be a millionaire unless you're putting in hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if you are, maybe it goes to 300,000, 400,000. I don't know. I'm just saying, I think it's going to 100,000. I think it's going to happen over the next 12 to 18 months. And if it does, what happens when Bitcoin goes higher? We see even after the halving for 18 months, the rest of the market outperforms Bitcoin by 3 to 1. A massive amount. I'm not talking about, 6% to 2%. I'm talking about Bitcoin up 600% after the last halving in 18 months, and the rest of the market up 1,800%. These are where the gains are going to come from in crypto. We want to be where the puck is going, not where the puck is right now. Because everyone's talking about Bitcoin and it's great and Ethereum is doing great. There's so many great technologies studying for so many years. And now you see new companies come out and they're getting funded. That's why you need an allocation to this sector. Again, 5 recommendations. I love it. I pat myself on the back here, but I love to see subscribers make money. 5, I made in one issue. Average one's up 50%. And the one that we just recommended, I'm really, really, really excited about. It's a great name in all the major trends: Claude, AI, DePIN, GameFi, great community of developers, amazing management team. 2023 is a banner year for them, and yet you didn't really see a massive movement. You're just seeing the movement now over the past couple months because everything's coming together for this company. Those are the names that I'm seeing. Really cool, exciting names that you can get in at $100 million, $200 million valuation, $300 million. But if these things get it right and go to a 10, 15, 20 billion, it's a game changer. Instead, you're looking at investing in 5, 6, $10 billion companies that IPO. But most investors that could buy, that's the only time they could buy when it IPOs, unless you have access to the private markets and credit investor, and the right people, which that's not a lot of people. Have access to some of this stuff, but not all of it. This is how you could make a fortune. That's why you need an allocation of your speculative capital. Don't sell your freaking house. Don't be stupid. Don't go all in, especially if you see over the past 6 weeks, 3, 4 months. Don't be stupid, please. Don't go crazy and the greed factor jump in. That's what happened here. I mean, look at the amount of leverage in these freaking crazy tokens. Are you kidding me? A lot of these, now what? Now you just got wrecked. You lost your money. You got your margin call. You have no money left. It's gone. And now you're going to miss out on this long-term trend that's going to be intact for a very, very long time. Let's get to Apple. Everyone now bearish on Apple. What happened? Been bearish on this name for 12 months and been wrong the first 6 months. Just, again, numbers guy and looking at everything and saying, Apple barely grew sales and earnings for 12 months. This is going to mid 2023. And yet its market cap increased by $1 trillion. I mean, holy shit, how do you do that, right? That's pretty incredible. Bringing up articles, numerous times, iPhone sales were slowing, iPad sales slowing. How the biggest growth market, China, which Apple was very dependent on. I mean, it's been in a tailspin. We've reported on that for what, a year and a half, 2 years? China's a lot worse than what everyone's saying. The real estate market, everything, great information from great people. Thank you so much for people that cover this market. That's what this is about. It's a network. It's not about me taking credit like I'm a genius. It's having access to the right information. How do you do that? Through all of you. Because you're all in different industries. Many of you own your businesses. Many of you are on college campuses and you listen to this. Some of you in the military. Many of you are doctors. I mean, all these different sectors, that real-time information, when you email me, it's incredible. I could look at so many different names based on the information you email me and recommend stocks. And I could tell you everything about the numbers. You're going to know more about these industries in real time. It's not inside information. It's just having access to the information at the right time. That's publicly available. But man, China's been a shit show. But now we have proof how bad China is, because there's a lot of people out there going, well, it's not so bad. Well, I mean, those are the people that ignore the comments from who? Levi's, Nike, Starbucks, who have major presence in China. Look at those names. There's a report, and this is from Counterpoint Research, suggesting iPhone sales dropped 24% in China. 24% in your largest growth market. What's interesting, when you look under the hood for this data, you could say, well, China's a shit show, right? It's terrible. I mean, the economy's terrible. It means its consumers are probably holding back, and iPhone's a big expense, right? It's a high-end phone. Don't have the money to spend on it. That's not it. It's Yahweh taking massive market share. Seeing sales for its new smartphones and headsets rose 64% year over year. If you remember, Yahweh was one of the biggest smartphone makers in the world pre-COVID. And really, I won't only the major competitor for Apple. There was a couple, I don't want to say Xiaomi and stuff like that, but not as big. Yahweh was that was the competitor. It was like, Verizon, AT&T before T-Mobile came around. But after COVID, what happened? The U.S. placed sanctions on Yahweh, and their phones, they weren't allowed to get the best technology, and they really sucked. They were not able to get the best chips. They didn't even have 5G, which makes it much slower, so everyone's like, all right, I'm going to go to Apple, and that's how their market share surged. Now, Yahweh has 5G in their headsets, have access to the greatest technology. Their phones are great, the new generation, which who knows how they get the chips. I'll let your imagination run wild. But it's terrible news for Apple. Because buying a headset, that's like a 2-year commitment. It's not like, hey, I'm buying Reebok instead of Nike this time. Then you're like, you know what? This kind of sucks. I'm just going to go back to Nike. And you're like, okay, and you come out with a better product. And people are like, all right, I'm just going to. It's like a two-year at least, right? Most of the time, 3-year commitment. And you lost this person. So it's not like Apple can launch an iPhone that's incredible, and people are going to be like, wow, this phone I just bought, I'm going to throw in the garbage because I want this one. They're not going to do that. So you lose market share. It takes a long time to gain that back. Now, Apple shares down 15% from their all-time highs of close to $200 and basically done nothing over the past 6 months, while I won't say the Mag 7 anymore because you're seeing a big sell-off in some of those names, especially Tesla, but Meta, NVIDIA, Microsoft surged. Now, here's what I see when it comes to Apple from my perch. Every time you try to count this company out, they come back with a vengeance. Every time. I'm not sure about the timing. I'm not telling you to go out there and buy it. Maybe that's a little bit more downside. I'm not sure when we're going to start seeing positive news from Apple, because it's been a shit show for a while. But, just hear me out. Over 2 billion people use iPhone products or Apple's products, right? Includes iPhone, iPads, watches. Apple has all the data and tracks all the data on these people. Since everyone carries their iPhone around every second of the day and makes sure it's right next to them when they go to sleep. Their phone's always within hand's reach all the time. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So they're going to be a monster winner in AI. And they'll get it right. You say, well, they're kind of late to the party. Wait till I have to tell you in the next segment. They're not late to the party. I mean, they're late when you look at ChatGPT and Google and stuff like that. But, I mean, this sector is just, it's changing so fast. It's like you could have everything set up and be like, wow, this system's better. This is better. This is better. They're going to be a winner in AI because they have the data. Remember that. When it comes to AI, it's data. If you have the data, you're going to be a winner. You're going to be able to predict, and they have a massive amount of data, probably top 5 in terms of all the data in the world when it comes to corporations. They also have $70 billion in cash and marketable securities on its balance sheet, generated $100 billion in free cash flow last year. $100 billion in free cash flow. Imagine that. Holy shit. Apple also controls the App Store, which is a toll every company has to pay forever, no matter what, because they own the phone. That gives them pricing power. Everybody's pissed off. They want to sue them. It doesn't matter. Right? Look at Facebook. Look at Meta. Meta's like, we're pissed off about the privacy policies. Well, too bad. Spotify, we're going to sue you. All right. You could sue us, but it's going to cost us really nothing. It's not going to be a big deal. We're not going to change. App Store is a very powerful tool. They have pricing power for cloud. Anyone who has an iPhone and uses cloud, how do you get that data off of cloud onto a new system? It's not easy. Believe me, I know. I have a phone store. It's not easy to take all your data. It's easy to transfer your data from phone to phone. It takes a little bit. You chip, give me the cloud ID, and boom, it transfers. Very easy to get to a new phone. It takes a little while, maybe an hour, depending on how much data you have on your phone. It could take a little bit longer. I know I do this. But going from iPhone and taking that cloud data and putting it into a Samsung, what does that mean? It means that they have pricing power. They can raise prices on that. And they could do that with not just cloud, but almost every service they provide. Apple TV, streaming, Apple Music, Apple Fitness. Also, what do we see yesterday? The elections. Trump, right? Kicked ass as expected. Nikki Haley just ended her campaign. So Trump is now officially the nominee. So right now against Biden, right now, and a lot can change, he's ahead of most polls. I think he's going to be ahead even further after tomorrow, because that's going to be Biden's State of the Union address to 7 p.m. And I have to say, the last 10 times I saw him speak, it was bad. And I hope he's not like that. But the reason why I think it's going to be bad and he's going to be all over the place and you're not going to know what's going on is because he also won the nomination. Why wouldn't you come out and speak to your base? I mean, it's a safe place. These are hundreds of people that love you. You get to, I mean, think about it. That's the politician's dream, right? Celebrate an achievement that I did. That's what you say, Trump. I did this. Politicians love saying what they did specifically. And this is the greatest opportunity. They'll never admit when they're wrong, ever. But a great opportunity to go in front of your base and say, hey, guys, now we're taking on Trump. How do you not make a speech? I mean, that's a great opportunity. I don't know. I just thought that was crazy. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is for investment purposes. Again, people get all crazy when it comes to politics. Holy shit, you said this. Yeah, but you said this. Yeah. You know, I'm just sick of this shit. And I really, limited my time on these platforms because I have to know what's going on. But I could tell you, if Trump wins, I think it's going to be really, really good for companies who do business in China. I really do. I actually think China itself is going to be a big buy. You might say, why? That's crazy. And it's not, because China is still one of the biggest economies in the world, not the biggest. I think the second. So they're in such a weak position right now, especially when it comes to bargaining power. I mean, real estate is in channels, everything. And I know people who are bearish on this market, again, China's not disappearing and it's down tremendously and it's got its ass kicked and it's horrible, but Trump's really good at exploiting this. And if he's smart, he'll find a way for America to benefit from China making a comeback. because both of those economies working together, holy shit. I mean, that's what we all want. It's going to be good for all of us. It could be in the form of easing restrictions on foreign investments, which have been pulled back. Lots of restrictions, lots of tariffs. I mean, easing those trade restrictions. If China agrees to buy more goods from the U.S., especially in industry like agriculture. I mean, there's so many things you could do when someone's sitting there and they have this massive asset of 1.4 billion people. Cheap labor. They can make anything they want, and we're going to buy it at the U.S. We're going to buy it. We're going to buy it. You know how hard it is to produce stuff in the U.S.? Yeah, we're passing the CHIPS Act. We're going to pass this. You know how much it costs to produce something in the U.S. compared to places like China? Now you could say it's Cambodia and Taiwan. I mean, not Taiwan, Cambodia and Vietnam. But if China wins, I think this is going to be really good for Apple. I really do. I think China could become a growth catalyst again, maybe 2025. But every time we doubt Apple, what happens? It finds a way to kick your ass. Plus, I can't find or remember a time covering Apple for many, many years when sentiment was this negative on that company. Which means what? Which means expectations are low. No one's expecting anything. iPhone sales are terrible. China's terrible. iPads, everything. Services didn't grow as much as they did. Earnings are not growing as fast. Sales aren't growing. You're a little expensive. It's just so many things, right? There's no one saying anything positive. The only thing that's positive is the AI, but they have to come up and get this right. If they could just show a little progress on AI, if they see a little more growth in China that turns just a little bit, the stock's going to pop because expectations are so low. And it significantly outperform its peers, which are those 4 or 5 Mag 7 stocks. However, I don't think Apple is just going to show progress on its AI initiatives. The amount of data they have is insane. Plus, the productivity gains they're going to see, gains that Microsoft, Meta, Amazon have seen using AI. If you're looking at revenue per employee, and when has that metric been a big deal? It is now. You never hear him mention that. Look it up for Microsoft and Meta. Holy shit. It's surging for these companies. So we speak of AI and why I think Apple's going to get this right very quickly because they have a huge war chest. How were we introduced to this magnificent trend? It was through ChatGPT. And ChatGPT's main competitor is Gemini, which is Bard, Google's Bard. And that was the ultimate disaster of a launch. And it wasn't like, oh, we made a mistake of people programming it. No, you took the same program you have for search and put it into this. And when people started looking and seeing that, they're like, what the hell is this? That's what Google search is. It's the same thing. I had this long post because the CDC just came out and said, oh, you know what? Now we could treat COVID like the flu. They actually fucking said that. You believe that? Unbelievable. I mean, look what they did to kids, closed things down, fired nurses, destroyed people's lives if you disagreed, even though they were taking, they had to get the shot, right? Even though, nurses were like on the front of this whole entire thing, right? Treating people. And this was not FDA approved through 2020. It was not FDA approved. But if you said you didn't want to take it, I mean, your life was destroyed. Look at Ice Cube. Look at Aaron Rodgers. All this stuff. Now you're saying that it's like the flu? So I went back and tried to post, and I did a simple search. This should be a simple search, and you could tell it was suppressed, of how many people got the flu in the flu season of 2020, 2021. First time COVID hit. And I knew what the number was around, but I couldn't find it anywhere. It should have been easy. It was like 1,600 people. Whatever it was. The lowest amount on record going back to like 1913. Yet, if you look at the past 4 years, an average of what? 30 million people get the flu, influenza. Yet, it was so low. Why? Because it was about 28 to 30 million people that got COVID, which told you that it was a form of the flu. It was very easy to see right off the bat. I can't find this. Why can't I find that information right now? Why? Do you wonder why Gemini and Bard? I mean, that's how. It wasn't like, oh, we had like these programmers we're gonna fire because they messed up. No, you said, hey, this is how a program search. When everybody searches on Google, let's just put this right here. And then people started They'll get pictures and all this stuff, and they were like, what the hell's going on? It's giving me stuff I'm not even asking for. Anyway, so when you look at ChatGPT, great product, but now you have a company called Anthropic. Remember that name. It's an AI company founded by OpenAI members who left the company. And they just launched its newest version of a competitor, which is Claude. And a top version of Claude is better than ChatGPT. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute. ChatGPT had the biggest launch of any technology product on the planet. In 2 months, it got 100 million users. We've never seen anything like that on any scale. It now has 180 million users. I think it's even more than that. I think it's over 1 billion users. I'm sorry. But you're looking at billions of people that are using this. And when did this come out? This was just launched. This isn't an old product, right? We got different versions getting better. But this pretty much launched the AI revolution. Where it was like, holy shit, did you see ChatGPT? Look what you could do. You can do all this stuff on it. It's amazing. And already there's a better product in the market. And by better, I mean, I'm not saying, well, it's better because I think it's better. This is tested. Content writing. Look at Claude responded more quickly, less robotically than ChatGPT. When it came to coding, and people would test this, gave them both the same task, to code a colorful currency converter as an app. And Claude did just that. It was colorful. It was nice. Responded to directions perfectly. ChatGPT's version of the app was plain. They tested for creative writing. Claude was much more accurate compared to ChatGPT when given instructions to write certain types of sentences. And I think they said write 10 sentences with, the end in the letter TH or whatever. And I think Claude was able to do 5 or 6 of them, and ChatGPT did 4. Crazy. I mean, this is how quickly this is changing, where you could have everything set up on a certain system and another system could be much, much better. So crazy is that's how early we are in this amazing trend. And you look at Anthropic, who's the owner of Claude. Who do you think its biggest investor is? Guess who? This is really cool. Amazon. Nice job. And then Google. Great hedge for them since Bart sucks. You're looking at OpenAI valued at 80 to 100 billion. And look, they're going to improve that version and it's still going to be good. But to see that a product like that, launched the AI, right? This whole revolution that brought it on a consumer level, right? This whole scale where everybody could use it and try it and go, holy shit, this is amazing. And we got to see it up front. And they launched it for free. And you think products for free. Remember, it's the greatest thing that they did. Let's launch it for free. All these people are going to use it. What do they think they're doing when you're using it? Everything you type, everything you do, they have all the data, more data, track it, make it, collect even more data on everybody, which is awesome, and making it even better. So how you do that internally, you can't do it compared to 1 billion people using this thing and everyone just typing stuff in at the same time. How much faster is this thing going to learn? The best decision ever. But this is closed source. It's not open source. Somebody owns it. But OpenAI valued at 80 or 100 billion. It's going to be a nice win for Amazon. It feels like they disrupt these markets and you're like, where's Amazon going to go next, right? It's retail and then supply chain logistics, one-day shipping, Amazon Marketplace, Alexa was launched, which is definitely going to change that. AWS, holy cow. And people say, well, Microsoft, they're still the leader in cloud. And now they're starting to build that up. You're seeing growth even come back. It's starting to come back for Amazon. Where it was slowing, from 30%, 20%, 18%. Now it's starting to grow on a percentage basis again. But now, AI. And holy cow, you want to talk about someone collecting data on you. Every purchase you make, everything you do, tracking your package. Holy cow. They have everything. Everything. Think about your wife, we get paper towels, toilet paper, just kitchen stuff delivered now. Every month, dog food every couple of weeks. It's automatic. But they know everything about you, and they're going to be able to tell. Okay, the person that buys this product, there's a 70% chance they're going to buy this product next, and then a 30% chance they're going to buy this product next. And when you combine all that, and you have all this data. Now you have these AI programs able to figure out and crunch all this data in seconds. and tell you exactly what that consumer is going to purchase. Not just one purchase, but this, because of all the patterns and everything and how you purchase products. Holy cow. It's amazing. So we're not in the first inning of the revolution in AI. I don't think you missed it. I mean, I know this because I cover it, the industry in depth now, providing you stories like this one with Claude, which I'm not hearing in mainstream media. You're probably going to hear a couple days from now. The applications are endless. You no longer need to know coding. I mean, it puts you at a significant disadvantage for companies that don't know coding. You have to hide developers, and sometimes they're from the Ukraine. You hear so many shitty stories. Oh, they finished the product, or maybe they steal it. Or what. It's so hard. And hire these guys in-house is hundreds of thousands of dollars. But now it levels a playing field because you don't need to know coding to integrate this technology into your company. We're doing it right now at Curzio Research. Military applications. I know, scary, but endless. The Department of Defense just said it identified 180 possible military uses for AI. Only 180? Again, scary shit, but Palantir just signed a $178 million order with the Army today to help power AI-enabled ground stations. You really think it's the only contract they're going to get over the next 6, 9, 12 months? 2, 3 years? Think about the research industry for stocks. What do you have? You have Bloomberg, Capital IQ, FactSet, Thomson Reuters. These guys charge you a fortune for this shit. A fortune, I know, because I pay it. A fortune. These companies are content aggregators. What does that mean? They pull public information from everywhere, from companies, their balance sheets, income statements, charts, stock price, hundreds of fundamental ratios, right? Putting into formulas, estimates that these companies provide, which are given on conference calls. Why do you need to pay $25,000, $30,000 a year for these systems when AI can create them for you? You have to pay for the APIs and stuff like that, but it will cost you a fraction of the price to do this. And you own all your research. Again, this is public information these companies put together to make it easy for you. I could type in what's Apple's, whatever. What's Apple's estimates for the next 3 years? Earnings, what's the free cash flow generating? But it's all available. It's just, do I want to go and look at a 10K and look and read through the transcript, which, I do when I actually recommend the company. But now it just combs through this as fast as it can. All this is public information. What's going to happen to that industry? Holy shit, I'd be worried. I'd be signing people to 3 to 5 year contracts at like 25% discounts and locking them in. Finance, real estate, healthcare, biotech, CRM platforms. Why did Salesforce and Snowflake report such weak numbers? And Salesforce went up because they announced a big buyback and stuff. Okay, I get it. But the numbers weren't that good for someone who should be really, really benefiting from AI. And Snowflake said that their margins are going to be down 35, 37% for the full year next year. How is that possible? It's a company with, a million PE that was supposed to grow to the stratosphere. How is that possible? How are you telling me you don't have pricing power? Now you can build your own CRM platforms using AI. Numerous platforms that do this, you can do a fraction of the price. Got a customer service department? Gone. Companies are using it right now. You're seeing it. They're actually bragging about it. Saying, wow, we replaced hundreds of workers by using this stuff, because you could actually go into a program, select a person, and they have like 20 people you could choose from. And you could call them, you could talk to them direct. They'll come on, right? It's a fake person. It's all AI generated. And now they're going to be able to answer your questions, and it's going to get smarter. So maybe, okay, it didn't work the first time, second time, third. Now, after a month, 2 months, 3 months, it's going to have all the answers. You don't have to pay for customer service, which a lot of this shit's a nightmare. Holy cow. I mean, when's the last time you actually spoke to someone on the phone? And when you do, they barely speak English. Can't even understand them. And then every new person you get on the phone, you have to give all of your information to again. Another person passing me on to 7 people at all 7. Well, we're taping your phone call. I just want to know, okay, who are you? What's your name? What's this? It's like, I just said that 7 effing times. Give me a break. Look at Figure AI, which I mentioned. New startup just raised $675 million to build what? Human-like robots? You know what that would do for a company like Amazon, which is why they're one of the biggest investors in this company, along with who? OpenAI, Microsoft, NVIDIA. So you're looking at consulting firms, leading consulting firms, right? Everybody can have estimates or whatever, but the leading ones, biggest ones, are calling for this industry in AI to be in the multi-trillions. I know you're thinking, well, you know what, Frank, I missed a boat in NVIDIA. I missed a boat in Supermicrocomputer. And maybe you're buying, Microsoft, Meta, Google, maybe AMD, which is really scary. Because AMD, I mean, when you look at Supermicrocomputer, they're putting up the numbers. Their earnings are growing tremendously. NVIDIA, earnings growing tremendously. You could argue that these stocks are not expensive. They're not. Even though the stocks have gone up tremendously because their earnings have surged. AMD stock has surged, and they're supposed to this year report the same earnings they reported 2 years ago. So if you're buying AMD, you're not really buying it as a current AI play. You're buying it as you're hoping it becomes an AI play, because right now it's not. And that stock is trading through the stratosphere, which is scary. But I've seen companies now, and looking at this in small, mid caps, starting to implement this technology. And what are they seeing? Out of nowhere, companies I follow, I'm like, oh, I remember that company. All of a sudden, I see it's up like 30%. I'm like, what the hell happened? And this earnings season. These 4 or 5 companies I can identify, I'm like, what the hell happened? This company's reporting losses, all of a sudden reporting gains. And all the analysts covering them, and sometimes you have like 3 or 4, you don't have 30 or 40, like with the Microsofts and the Googles and stuff like that, and the bigger companies. And all of them caught off guard. Like, what the hell how did that happen? When you look under the hood, you could see it. And they're not saying AI generated this amount of sales for us. You're not going to see that. And I think that's what people get confused about. But they're seeing margins surge, and they're seeing that in the divisions that they're implementing AI in. And if you want proof of that, even on a bigger scale, look at the revenue to sales year over year for Meta and Microsoft. I mean, you want to talk about an explosion. Both of these companies laid off tons of workers. Meta laid off 30% of its workforce. Microsoft, 10,000 employees they laid off a year ago. Another 1,900 in gaming. So they're seeing sales go up while margins surge and earnings absolutely skyrocket. Now, more specific, listen to this. So you can see exactly what I'm talking about. This is why, for a guy like me, and again, to find this stuff, you have to be a fundamental analyst. And most people aren't talking about it because when you go on TV, they're traders, and trading's cool, but a lot of them are traders. You go to YouTube channels, they're traders. A lot easier to be a trader than a fundamental analyst, which takes many, many, many years to understand what these companies are doing. I mean, you could learn simple fundamental analysis, but really dig it in to see, okay, what are they hiding? What are they doing? But when you look under the hood, I'm saying, holy shit. Here's when you look under the hood. Listen to this, please. Meta reported sales of $135 billion in 2023. That was slightly higher than 2022. But earnings grew 69%. 69% to $39 billion. Why do you think that happened? Amazon, look at Amazon, increased sales 12% year over year. Did you see how much money they generated last year? Just to put this in perspective, in 2022, they had a net loss of $2.7 billion. Amazon reported net profits of $30.4 billion last year. Holy shit. And yes, shit. When I see something like that, something that doesn't make sense, like how in the hell did that happen? Is this a one-timer? Did you sell? What happened? No. This is what AI is doing for these big companies that have all the data. I know you might say, okay, maybe I missed the boat. Amazon hasn't participated as much. I think it's still a great buy. If you think you missed a boat, you think this is in a bubble, you're crazy. Some names are in a bubble. I agree. But you're seeing AI filter down to small and mid-tier companies that have been around for a long time that also have a lot of data. And this is the reason why we're launching a new newsletter solely based on this trend. And I'm calling it Curzio AI because I can't think of a better fucking name. I'm sorry. Curzio AI is the name of it. Already wrote my first beta issue. That goes out to Curzio One members. That's part of that, elite membership. And we asked for feedback. And their feedback has been like, holy shit. I'm like, I know. You're going to see lots of great ideas. I ran a screen of small cap names under $5 billion market cap. You can get away with $10 billion. I didn't want to go that high. And then you're going to see companies like 10, 15 billion. I'm probably going to cap it at that. So mid cap companies as well that can grow market caps tremendously. I have 220 small cap names right now, all starting to use AI, which will completely change the landscapes of their business. And I feel like nobody's talking about this. And why? It's why I mentioned just a minute ago. You have to really dig into the fundamentals. And a lot of people don't do that. Because when you do dig into fundamentals, it opens up the door to you to be more of a bear. It does, like the Chanos, holy cow. You want to talk about guys that can read stuff. I mean, Citron, Andrew Left, great guys, fundamental guys that can dig through numbers. But you have to dig through the numbers and figure out, okay, why did this company beat? Why did they beat by so much? How did they do this when nobody saw this coming? And this is how. And you're seeing when you dig in, you go to the website, you start looking and digging technology, it's showing the AI capabilities that make sense. They have a lot of data on their clients. Some of these companies have been around for 100 years. They just have lower than $5 billion market caps, which is a big company, but we're used to seeing $1 trillion companies. And the good news for you with this product, you don't need to again, if this is a little over your head and it's too many numbers, Frank, and shit like that, I'm going to do all this shit for you. You don't have to worry. All you have to do is buy the names and tell you to buy. That's all you got to do. The official launch is about 2 weeks away. Most of the names make it into this newsletter are going to be names likely that you haven't heard of. Maybe a few of the ones that I'm seeing on my list because they're rarely mentioned on CNBC. Everybody talks about the big guys. But companies that get this right, 4 or 5 that I saw already got this right. I mean, you're going to see incredible stock gains. If you're looking at Supermicro Computer, which is one of the ones that outside NVIDIA, that's the second best. That was a $5 billion company 12 months ago. It's $66 billion today, up 1,100% in a year. I wouldn't buy it here because, they're basically making these computers and tailor to everybody, which you don't have a big moat. You could have a lot of companies that do this and Dell and stuff like that. And you're seeing Dell stock go through the roof. It's not like NVIDIA has the technology and nobody can really compete with them. I don't see it for at least years away, maybe another 5 years away. And everyone's catching up. They're 2 generations ahead. But these are the names that you're going to see in this portfolio. We're launching it in 2 weeks. It's a higher-end product since there's tons of research. As you could see, it goes into it. A lot of my time. There's provide a nice special intro price to Curzio research members or members who sign up at www.curzioai.com. Okay, that's for free if you sign up, just so you're going to get all the information when we launch, and plus releasing lots of cool stuff on the news I'm seeing in AI, which is a ton. You're hearing it right here. You're not seeing it every place. It's just different sites that we're able to pick from who are great in this industry. And man, this is the stuff we're doing. It's really, really exciting. So again, www.curzioai.com if you're interested in seeing it. 2 weeks we're going to launch this. And also I have a special interview set up already a couple weeks from now, only because this person went on vacation. I would have did it earlier. He's the director of AI for the Mayo Clinic. Get ready for your brain to explode because I spent like 40 minutes on the phone with him just talking to him. I mean, 2 phone calls and a bunch of emails. I said, listen, I would love to interview you. I mean, he's got lots of private ideas. This is a guy that sees, he told me, you got to see the ideas that come across his desk. I think it's every Thursday or whatever that just come across his desk that are implementing AI into so many facets of healthcare and biotech and stuff that he's using. He's been doing this for a very, very, very long time, actually. That's going to be available to subscribers along with lots of interviews with some amazing leaders in this space. So I'm looking forward to the launch. Since it's the first newsletter I launched under my name in 7 years. Believe that? 7 years. Why? Because usually when you launch newsletters, they go out to your whole list. It's a new product. It's where you generate the most money. So why wouldn't I launch 30 or 40 like a lot of my competitors? Is because I only offer products and really pitch my products when I think there's big opportunities for you. I don't get paid by these companies to recommend them. If I don't show you gains, then you're not going to subscribe to my work. So I've been doing this for 30 years. So a lot of you have been listening to me for decades. I see lots of opportunities for you. I'm going to be invested in a lot of these, just like the opportunities I saw in crypto 6 months ago when I was really, really pushing that, even 2 months ago. But AI, it's happening. I mean, listen to Mark Cuban's interview. It's really cool. He's like, you either got to have companies that are AI or you're left out. That's how big this trend is. And he's pretty good when it comes to that part of business. Seeing trends in technology, living through them, knowing when to get out. That's how I became a billionaire. Listen to that interview. Start educating yourself. Because when it's super early stages, you need to have capital allocated to the sector. especially small mid-cap names, those are going to see, I'll give you the potential for the biggest returns if I get this shit right, which I hopefully do. So again, you can sign up at www.curzioai.com to receive all my AI updates, especially when the newsletter officially launches. So guys, that's it for me. Questions, comments, email me, frankcurzioresearch.com, and I'll see you guys tomorrow on Wall Street Unplugged Premium. Take care. Love this episode of Wall Street Unplugged? I think you'll really love Wall Street Unplugged Premium. The Wall Street Unplugged Premium is my members-only podcast where I dive even deeper into this week's events. Well, I'll do even more than tell you what's moving these markets. I'll tell you specifically what moves you can make today. So this is going to be about trading. Put big money in your pocket right away due to the inconsistencies I see daily in the market. I'm talking about specific investment ideas I'm recommending and tracking each week that I believe will be impacted directly by everything I just talked about today. Plus, you're going to get the chance to go even further down the rabbit hole with me and my co-host, who's Daniel Creech, as we discuss which of these week's trends could turn into massive windfalls. Including the big trends that we see lurking on the horizon, also the news we're picking up from our network of insiders, which has gotten bigger and bigger thanks to you and so many people listening to this podcast in over 100 countries. And you get a chance to talk to me directly in my special Ask Me Anything Q&A session. All of that and a lot more, like premium interviews with world leaders in finance, technology, industry, and politics. This is all part of Wall Street Unplugged Premium. And becoming a member is super simple and super cheap. So head on over to WSUoffer.com to check it all out. Sign up today and you won't miss a thing. That's WSUoffer.com.
Wall Street Unplugged is produced by Curzio Research, one of the most respected financial media companies in the industry. The information presented on Wall Street Unplugged is the opinion of its host and guests. You should not base your investment decisions solely on this broadcast. Remember, it's your money and your responsibility.